Hello everyone, the last one standing here, and welcome to another Summoner's War video. And in this video, we will be ranking the different 2A units of Summoner's War in 2021 for PvE and PvP content a la Eurovision. So if you're not familiar with Eurovision, so it's a song contest involving different countries in Europe, as well as I think some parts of Asia and Africa, I don't know. But uh, what we will try to copy is the format of their scoring. So in Eurovision, what they do is for each country to select 10, their top 10 performances, and then they will assign different points. So in this video, what we will do is for each game content of Summoner's War, we will be selecting 10 2A monsters, and we will assign points to those 10 monsters, which can be most effectively and efficiently used for that particular game content. Say for example, we will be ranking the 2A units in terms of Giant Skip, B10 and B12. So the best for each content will be given 12 points, or 12 points in French, no? So and then the rest will be given, the number 2 will be given 10 points, the third will be given 8 points, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So at the end of ranking all of these contents, so the combined score for both PvP and PvP and PvP will be used to tally the final score to declare our most valuable 2A monsters in the game. So just some disclaimers for this video. So of course, I'll be using my personal knowledge of the game. I've been playing for around 2,383 days, and these are my best scores in different game contents. I think I'm already in the end game content of Summoner's War, in a sense that I have the fast meta farming teams, as well as I have cleared most of the contents, no? So much of my time is dedicated to actually just optimizing these teams, playing with various units, which doesn't necessarily improve my gameplay, but just gives me fun, as well as of course real-time arena. So apart from my personal knowledge, I have been also looking into the different in-game contents, as well as some forum like Reddit or even other YouTube contents. So things like the ranking for different the ranking for different contents has been taken into consideration for this video. So it's been a while since the game has introduced second awakening units, and we do have a lot right now. So we do have a total of 50 2A units in the game, and for many of us, especially those who are starting the game or at least doesn't have enough time to test out all of these monsters, it's quite difficult to assess or to prioritize which of these 2A monsters are the best investments, no, as far as resources are concerned. And you know, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you like with these monsters, but in this video we'll just talk about how these monsters are utilized in the game right now, so that you would have an idea of which monsters would likely be most beneficial for your account. So of course, we will not be talking about the 50 monsters because that's just too much, no? And many of them actually have very limited or very niche applications or uses in the game right now. So we will trim down our analysis and rankings to the top 24. And I can tell you right now that these are your top 24 finalists. Let's receive our first points from the Giant's Keep. Hello, Amelia. Can you give us your first points?
Hello everyone, these are the first points from the Giant's Keep.
We can see that Sath and Naomi, as well as Crow and Beladion, got the highest scores for Giant's Keep. Sath obviously because of his passive, which makes the dot teams very efficient and very fast. Naomi and Crow would be most likely for early game players. So both Naomi and Crow scale their damage according to the number of harmful effects on the enemy. And I think Naomi is slightly better here because of element advantage as well as I think slight attack bar reduction. So Amelia, can you give us your 12 points?
12 points from Giant's Keep go to Tattoo.
So wow, Tattoo got the 12 points for Giant's Keep B10 and B12, and that's no surprise. Tattoo enables a lot of fast team. Now, even though you don't have Sat in some cases, if you have Rika, the Water Homunculus, and other daughters, definitely putting Tattoo there in your team would make it as fast as possible. Now let's call in the next content, which is Dragon's Lair. And for Dragon's Lair, we have Teor. Hello, Teor. Can you give us your first points?
Hello everyone, Lair here from the Dragon's Lair. I used to be the king of this dungeon, but I'm giving away the early points to these monsters.
Wow, for Dragon's Lair, we can see that Kali and Spectra has been given the 10 points and 8 points, and then you can also see Tattoo and Sath, Crow, you have Beladion, and even Rauk, Lulu, and Casey. I think for Kali here and Spectra, those are very much viable for your first slower team. Not necessarily slow team, but a decent time, like perhaps 1 minute 30 seconds to 2 minutes. No, Kali has a very strong nuke on second skill, as well as she has the attack buff, which makes your monsters hit harder in dragons. And then Spectra, I believe, would be very beneficial because of her skill tree, which reduces the attack bar of the boss monsters as well as the crystals, which makes it fairly safe. And of course, Spectra and Teor on one team would be very much viable for dragons. So I think that's the reason why we can see high scoring for Kali and Spectra here. And then for Tattoo and Sat, I believe that's also viable. So you can also use the dot team for this dungeon, although the rune requirements would probably be higher than Giants and Steel Fortress. Now, can we learn from Teor who they give the 12 points to?
Our 12 points is given to the monsters who made me retire farming dragon's lair. 12 points for Ikaru.
Not much of a surprise here either. You know, it's funny that Taylor is telling us that he retired because of the introduction of the Ikaru teams, and true enough, the triple Ikaru teams would be the best investment in the game so far, at least in my opinion, and that's a well-deserved 12 points for Ikaru for Dragon's Lair. And for the Necropolis B10 and B12, we shall be welcoming Astar. Hello, Astar. Can you give us your first points, please?
These are the points from Necropolis.
Wow, in this game content, you can see that we have some new monsters gaining points. So we have 10 points for Shaman, which is a very good substitute for Astar for Necropolis farming. So Shaman Second Awakening increases his damage 100% for Dark attribute. We can also see that Rauk, Beladion, and even Kuro, the different Dogos, have a high score in this dungeon. For Crow and Rauk, they team up, so which brings together one or two more monsters with them, which hits the boss shield down. Beladion, I think, is for early game safe team, and then you have the rest. An interesting score here is for Casey, who got 5 points. And I think Casey is very much underrated for Necropolis, considering that her skill tree has multi-hits and it can hit very hard, since the damage increases as the shooting stars will hit the same target. So she can really be very good here. But I do have an idea who will receive the 12 points here. So can we confirm, Astar? Who do you give your 12 points to?
Of course, my 12 points will go to the dogs who team up with me, Ikaru.
Yes, I knew it. It would be Ikaru. That's no surprise again, because Ikaru has a very strong team up. So, and you can see here that Ikaru has already overtaken Tattoo at the rankings after the 3rd dungeon. Now let's go to the next one. And let's welcome Ling Ling for Steel Fortress B10.
How does it keep getting better? Every day I'll find somewhere to grow. The time we spent together, seems to feel good. We got a good thing going.
Hello, Ling Ling. Can you give us your first points?
Hello, these are the first points for Steel Fortress.
Wow. And you can see here again, Sah taking that 10 points. So, and probably you would know who would take the 12 points here. But we can also talk about the other monsters who got points here. So you see there's Spectra gaining the 3rd highest points with 8 points. So Spectra is also very good here because he has element advantage as well as the 3rd skill, which reduces the attack bars, puts slow debuff as well as attack break on the boss and the towers, provides some level of safety for early teams, especially those teams with Ling Ling. We can also see Kuro and Rauk here, which also increases the damage output with their team up, as well as Crow third skill, which are very useful for early game teams. Now, another interesting is Casey getting 1 point here. I think this is because Casey has block beneficial effect on her third skill. However, that is not so very useful for this dungeon in a sense that she has element disadvantage. And we can expect already who the 12 points is going to, but can we please confirm, Ling Ling, who deserves your 12 points?
And the 12 points go to Tattoo.
So another 12 points for Tattoo. Yes, I think if you have already built your Tattoo Dots Explosion team for Giants, then definitely you will not have a problem farming Steel Fortress as well. And as you can see, this changes the ranking very much, with Tattoo regaining the number 1 position. Now let's go to Punisher's Crypt. And for Punisher's Crypt, we welcome Verdiheal.
Parla, la gente purtroppo parla, non sa di che cosa parla, tu portami dove sto a galla, e quindi
Hello, Verdiheal. Can you provide your first points?
Feed me your blood, mundanes. These are the points for Punisher's Crypt.
Oh, Verdiheal has a very scary voice. I did not expect that. And you can see here in Punisher's Crypt, we do have some new monsters getting some love. So you can see Jultan getting the 3rd highest points. You have Crow and Rauk having the 2nd and the 4th best points. I think for this dungeon, Rauk is really one of the units which you can use early game for this dungeon. And Jultan, because Jultan can tank the boss damage, being a dark unit. And Crow can do the same thing. However, if we compare Jultan to Crow for Punisher's Crypt, I think Crow would be much more difficult to build, in a sense that you want damage as well as you also want him to be tanky. But Jultan can actually tank it very well and also deal damage whenever the boss hits it with a critical hit. So that's why I think Jultan is much higher here. You can also see the Dots Explosion team, which can also be used for this dungeon. Now, can we confirm, Verde? Who do you give your 12 points to?
And the 12 points go to Hikaru.
Another expected 12 points received from the Punisher's Crypt. So this is one of the good things for endgame content. So many of the different themes that you can use in one content can also be used in another content. And in this case, you can see that Verdiheal Trikaru can very much be usable in Punisher's Crypt. You just need to know whether you will hit the boss first, or in this case, you should hit the tower first before the boss at the... So let's move over to Tower of Ascension Normal. And for Tower of Ascension Normal, we have Maruna. Hello, Maruna. Can you give us your first points?
Here are the first points for Tower of Ascension.
Ascension Normal.
For Tower of Ascension Normal, we do see some little bit of tweak in terms of who got points here. So we can see Raok with the second highest points, and then Spectra gaining the third points. I think for Tower of Ascension Normal, Raok is very much useful because he can team up, and since the enemy monsters in Tower of Ascension Normal has a relatively low HP, so you can clear it fast with Raok teaming up with, say for example, your twins like Maruna and Shaina, and then Spectra can be just for early game safety net because of her third skill. Crow for damage. You can also use the Dots Explosion team here, but it's not necessary considering the lower HP of the monsters in TOA Normal. Beladion, I think again it's for early game safe teams. But I wonder who will get the 12 points for this content. So, Maruna, can you tell us who you gave your 12 points to?
And the 12 points go to Ikaru!
Whoa! Another 12 points for Ikaru. Oh, that makes sense because if Raok can team up, then definitely your Ikaru can also team up here. No? And perhaps you can also use Verdi Heal plus maybe not Maruna, but maybe Shaina, or I think Maruna can also be used for farming together with triple Ikaru Verdi for TOA Normal. So wow, that's interesting, and you can see the points have changed, and Tattoo still remains at number 1, but Ikaru is a very close second. Now let's go to Tower of Ascension Hard. And for Tower of Ascension Hard, of course, we have the pain in our lives, now especially if it belongs to the floor 80. We have the fallen angel, Artamiel, or the Archangel. Hello, Artamiel. How is it going? Can you give us your first points?
Greetings from the Tower of Ascension Hard. Your Archangel Artemiel brings the points to these monsters.
Wow, Artamiel sounds so holy. And if you can see the first points for Tower of Ascension Hard, oh, I did not know that Crow is usable here. I think Crow is given a high points here because definitely he can hit hard in terms of the boss stage for Tower of Ascension Hard. And we can also see that Sath and Beladion got the next higher scores. So I think Sath here has a higher score and way higher score than Tattoo. Because for Tower of Ascension Hard, so this is where your enemy monsters gains a lot of HP, and Tattoo is not necessarily needed here because most of the time you will not be able to cycle the dots as well as the incineration every change of the floors. But Sath passive is still very much useful, just using it with things like the Water Homunculus, Rika, or Thrain, which also got a higher score here, and your Barretta, so makes your So Sath being there in your team can make it much faster to do the dot steam for Tower of Ascension. But in the higher boss stage, the dot steam can a little bit be less useful because you cannot dots the boss in every 10th stage. So Archangel Artemiel, can you now reveal the 12 points for Tower of Ascension Hard?
12 points is bestowed upon Spectra.
Oh, Spectra, right. Spectra would definitely deserve the 12 points here because Spectra's second skill actually scales off enemies' max HP, so he can hit hard even in the boss stage wherein your dot teams may not be very useful. At the same time, Spectra together with Belladion also increases the safety of your team because of their third skill. No? So Spectra having the slow debuff, attack break, as well as attack bar reduction, while Belladion has the heal as well as attack bar boost. So well deserved. So these are the rankings after Tower of Ascension Hard. Now let's go to Tower of Ascension Hell mode. And we welcome Tyrone for Tower of Ascension Hell. Hello Tyrone, please give us your first points.
Good day, everyone. These are the first points for Tower of Ascension Hell mode.
Now there are some weird choices here for Tower of Ascension Hell. And I think this is because for Tower of Ascension Hell, it's a bit more strategic in a sense that there are different challenges for each doors. Like for example, there could be an immunity during first turn, no passives that can be used, immunity for skill cooldown. So we can see here Iselia, Fire Fairy getting 1 point. I think that is because her third skill has a strip mechanic, so which can also be used in certain challenges. But there are probably much better options than Iselia. Like for example, Tiana is much better, Juno is much better. But if you don't have those, then you can use Iselia. And then we can see here some interesting points for support monsters like Lulu, Shannon, Bernard. I think these are more trivial because what you use here are definitely things like John, Tyrone, Verad, Rika, and those 2A monsters with a higher score like Thrain, Shaman, and Belladion. Definitely those are the more popular ones to be used in Tower of Ascension Hell. And I think we can expect that Spectra will get the 12 points here. So Tyrone, can you confirm who your 12 points are going to?
And the 12 points go to Spectra.
Indeed, we have another 12 points for Spectra. And we can see this changes the rankings a little bit. Now let's go to the second to the last of the 10 PVE contents, and these are the Rift Dungeons and Raid. And we welcome Miss Lisa. Hi Lisa, please give us your first points.
Hi everyone! I used to be the queen of farming R5, but now I'm giving my points to these monsters.
And wow, we can see another interesting distribution of points here. Now we can see definitely Ramahan getting his first points. I think Ramahan has been given 4 points here because he can definitely dish out great amount of damage for the water Rift Beast. And I think Ramhan can also be used for the light one. Bernard, Beladion, and Ikaru probably has some niche uses in certain contents, and Beladion for early game team compositions. And then as we go up, we see Shaman. Shaman definitely be used for the dark. Casey would definitely be used for the fire because Casey's skill 2 is an AoE defense break, which can also dish out damage to the exploding orbs. And then definitely the skill 3 can increase the damage output during the boss's groggy state. And Casey can also be used for the water one. Now Naomi can definitely be used for the water, slightly for the wind, and also the dark and light one. Kali brings in the attack buff as well as high damage with skill 2. And then Rauk is just best for many of these Rift dungeons. But I wonder who will get the 12 points here. Lisa?
And of course, our 12 points will go to Poppy Crow.
Oh, Crow, right. Crow is definitely the best one for this content because not only can he be used for almost all, I think all of the Rift Raid dungeons, but Crow can also be used as the early R5 team. No, I forgot about the R5 team. And I think Beladion also received those minor points because the early game raid teams can use Beladion. And even Ramahan, I think, can be used there. And Kali. But I think even in the mid-game level, definitely Crow will be used for R5. And in endgame, Crow as well as Naomi and Rauk would be used for endgame Rift Raid dungeon farming. And this definitely changes the rankings of the monster. And we're almost at the end of the PVE contents. Let's head on now to the last PVE content, which is Dimensional Hole Farming. We welcome Savannah for the Dimensional Hole Farming. Hello, Savannah. Can you give us your first points?
Hello everyone, Savannah here calling from the Dimensional Hole. And these are our first points.
Oh, for Dimensional Hole, I think the reason why we're seeing high scores for Ramahan, Shaman, Vigor, Beladion, and Shannon is because basically for dimensional hole farming, you want to farm Elunia mainly for the Will and Despair runes, and then secondarily Calderon for the Swift runes, Swift Ancient runes. And for example, Ramahan can definitely deal a lot of damage for Elunia because the boss is water and wind monsters are strong there. Shaman, Vigor, plus I think Verdi Heal and Fran are the top monsters for Calderon. However, I think Calderon is much more of an endgame farming content. So that's why we can definitely see that those monsters used for Elunia has higher score. And with this, I'm expecting probably like Naomi or Bernard for the 12 points. So Savannah, can you give us the 12 points?
And of course, the 12 points go to Bernard.
Oh, Bernard got the 12 points for dimensional hole. I think Bernard is definitely the best monster for Elunia farming, and I think it can also be used for other contents, maybe less, even in the dimensional predator, so you can have throw Raok there, but since that's just once a month only, so, and you have other options for dimensional predator, so that influences the scoring less than Elunia farming. I think these are your Elunia scores or your dimensional hole farming scores. So at the end of PVE scoring, we do have the three Dogos at the top. Raok with 67 points, Crow with 62 points, Beladion with 55 points, and then Tattoo, Sath, and Ikaru for 52 and 49 points respectively. Interesting enough, Beladion, though it was never awarded a 12 points, it's just so versatile that it can be used as a secondary monster for almost all contents. That's why you can see a very high positioning for Beladion. And of course, Tattoo, Sath, and Ikaru are the best for dungeon farming. Spectra, Shaman are best for late game contents like TOA Hard and TOA Hell. And Raok definitely can be used for almost any content. So interesting PVE results. Now, this can still change because we still have 8 contents for PvP. And you know, in PvP, definitely there's a whole different meta. So who knows, no? Anyone can still win this overall ranking. So once again, these are your top 5 for PvE. At number 1 is Raok with 67 points. Number 2 is Crow with 62 points. Followed by Beladion with 55 points. And Tathu and Sat tied at ranks 4 and 5 with 52 points. Let's go to part 2, which is PvP. And for the first PvP content, we shall hear from, you guessed it right, the king of arena offense, Lucian. So you can see here for PvP, we have the scores resetted to 0 so that we can see which monsters would be the best for PvP contents. And Lucian, please give us your first points.
Hello from the Arena Offense. This is Lucian calling, and here are the first points.
Wow, definitely we see a very variable distribution of points here. So we can see Rauk getting the second highest points and Esselia getting the third highest point, 8 points. And then we see Kali, Ashir, Ramahan. So I think Rauk in some cases are used by high level arena players which can insta-kill farming defenses. Esselia, I think, has her applications similar to Tiana and Clara. So if you're early game and you don't have a good stripper, I think Esselia is one of the best that you can get. Kali is just so strong that she can also fit in many teams. Even Lucian teams can use Kali if they are speed tuned correctly. For Ashir, I think if you just want to contend for first turn, so you can bring in Ashir because of his high base speed, especially if you don't have the light harpy Kabila, so Ashir can definitely fill in that space. So you can go Ashir and then your light Garuda, Resurge, and Lucian just do amputation magic. So I think that's why Ashir has 6 points here. Ramahan and Ikaru, I think, are here because of their speed lead. Now, like for example, Ramahan can be used together with Immensity because he has wind speed lead. And then Ikaru, for the same reason, he has speed lead. So that can be useful for Megan, Bastet, and even Orion. But they're pretty low because you have better speed leads like Shimite, and of course Vanessa and Samath. Miho and Vigor, I think, are just for niche uses. So, Lucian, who deserves your 12 points?
Our 12 points go to my very dear friend, Bernard.
12 points for Bernard. Yes, that's definitely most deserved because Bernard, Lucian, plus Bastet or Megan with Leo, double Lucian, etc. is still the standard arena offense up to this day. And Second Awakened Bernard just makes it more powerful because Bernard will hit harder and it's much more tanky if you Second Awaken it. So definitely a well-deserved 12 points for arena offense. Now let's go to arena defense. For arena defense, we have Vanessa. Yes, another meta monster for arena defense.
Give me some sugar.
Vanessa, please give us your first points.
Hi everyone, Vanessa here calling for Arena Defense. These are our first points.
I think for arena defense, none of the 2A monsters are really effective for arena defense. Or maybe at least in the lower ranks, they are quite effective. So I think Vigor having 10 points here is because you can still see Vigor in high level arena defense, like those with Acroma or Molly. Beldion, on the other hand, used to be one of the meta Nemesis healer, but with Praha and Ariel, so she's no longer that great. And the rest, I think, are just niche defenses if you don't have much Nat 5s. Like, I think they can be used as part of trap defenses. But now let's go to Vanessa for the 12 points.
Still, the 12 points go to Miho.
Oh, Miho. Miho got the 12 points for arena defense. Now I think this is a much deserved 12 points. Before the crit fix, I think this is really expected. But right now, I'm not so sure. But I can still see Miho in some cases. That's why she is a rank number 1 here for arena defense. Besides, there's nothing else that you can really use for arena defense except for Miho and Vigor. Yeah, so I think that's why Miho has 12 points here. Now let's go to the next one. Let's go to the guild contents. So for Guild War offense, we have the famous Fengyan. Fengyan, please give us your first points.
Here are the first points. But you know it's only Yaya Ding Dong who deserves all the points.
A lot of interesting choices for Guild War. Yeah, I think for Guild War you have a lot of options. You can see here there are those which are support in nature, like Lulu, Elucia, Esilia getting some few points. I think Lulu is the best in terms of support because of immunity, which makes it very safe. You can also see higher points given to monsters which are defensive at the same time offensive units, like Ramagos. You have their Vigor, Eshir. Vigor, I think, has the higher score on the werewolves because of the defense break and the anti-crit buff, while Eshir, definitely if you want first turn. And you have Bernard. I think Bernard can still be used as part of the standard Lucian offenses. But who gets the 12 points?
All the points go to Yaya Ding Dong. Yaya Ding Dong. But seriously, our 12 points go to Kali.
Oh, Kali. I think Kali is very much deserving of the 12 points here, because you can see Kali can one-shot Fengyan into non-existence, no? As well as monsters like Artamiel, Leona, Tyrannis, which are defense-based monsters which are sometimes used as Guild War defense. Well, they can be eliminated right away by Kali. And Kali can also be used in compositions like Katarina comps, Kali Covenant comps, Kali Lucian comps. Basically, Kali plus almost everything is good for Guild War offense. And there we go. So this are the new rankings after Guild War Offense, and we say hi back to Feng Yan. Now let's go to Guild War Defense. And we welcome one of the notorious Guild War Defense monsters, Orion. Hello, Orion. Please give us your harmless prank of the first points.
I don't feel hate. It's just a prank, bro. Here are the points for guild defense.
Oh, for Guild War Defense, you see, it's pretty much one-sided. So we can see here, Miho has some points, Jultan has some points, Eshir has some points, Beladion has some points. I think one of the things that we have to understand for Guild War Defense is it's different to Siege content in a sense that you don't necessarily need to reuse your Guild War defenses over and over. Instead, what you want your Guild War defense to do is not necessarily to win, because you don't get much points from winning. But it's more of you want your Guild War defense monsters to be able to kill a certain unit from your opponent so that they cannot use it in attacking other defenses. And you can see, I think Beladion received 10 points here because there would be some compositions in the lower rank which makes use of Beladion, and in the higher level, at least in the past meta, you can see John, Beladion, and Taranis. For Rauk, I think it's more of the trap defenses, especially with Elsharion and Verdi. I think Miho is a little bit low here because for Guild Wars, you have a lot of options now to kill Miho. Especially you can use Seara, and you can use the Onimushas. I think Miho will receive much more points in Guild Siege defense. But now let's see who got the 12 points.
And the 12 points go to Vigor!
12 points go to Vigor. Yes, I do agree with this because Vigor is very much meta for Guild War and even Guild Siege defense. You can see him with Kaemon, Savannah, Kaemon, Ethna. You can also see him with Odin, Laika, and so many other things. Vigor is definitely one of the most versatile Guild War defense units, and I think he really deserves the 12 points here. So that 12 points brings Vigor to top 1 so far after half of the votes for PvP contents. Now let's go to Guild Siege offense.
Excuse my French. Baby, it's not on me,
And we welcome the dashing Miss Ciara for Guild Siege offense. Ciara, please give us your first points.
Hello everyone, Sierra here for Siege Offense. These are the first points.
So for the first points, we see a lot of options here. I think there are a lot of viable 2As for Guild Siege offense because in Siege, you do have the Nat 4 towers, you have the Nat 5 towers, And there are very few counters to meta not for towers. I think you see Elucia there with a very high score because Elucia together with Lauren, for example, can be used against those pesky Skogul defenses, Kaemon Skogul and Vigor defenses. And then you can see Vigor and Bernard also with a high score. Bernard, I think, can still be used as part of the Lucian offenses. If you want to clear towers fast, then you can just have so many Lucians and Bernards. If you can, build them. And then Vigor is quite versatile, so you can, while you can use Vigor for defense, it can also be used in some offensive teams because he has defense break, which is 3 turns. And then you have things like Jultan and Lulu. Jultan can definitely be a tank for some Lauren defenses. And then Lulu gives you standard protection with immunity. The rest, I think, are just some niche uses. So let's hear it from Ciara again for the 12 points.
And our 12 points go to Kali.
Aha! 12 points goes again to Kali because who will not use Kali for Guild Siege offense? I think she's very much versatile. She has very good base speed. With the second awakening, she can one-shot almost anything with or without attack buff. And you can use her both in Nat 4 towers as well as Nat 5 towers. So yeah, I think Kali deserves the 12 points too. Now let's go to Guild Siege defense. Hi Yen!
Get ready for
Can you give us your first points?
Hi everyone, Yen here calling for Siege defense. And these are our first points.
So I knew Miho would get a higher points for Guild Siege defense because even though you have a lot of counters for Miho nowadays, the fact that you can reuse Miho defenses over and over again, especially for Nat 4 towers, still makes it one of the difficult towers to clear eventually. And then you can see here Veladion, Jultan, and Eshir. I think those are more for niche defenses. For Nat 4 towers, I think Nat 4s are really the meta. Like Shaina, Martina, Triana, Galleon, Clara Yen, Galleon, Clara Lucas. And of course, those Miho and Skogul defenses. But I think I can already foresee that this would be going to Vigor. So Yen, can you confirm?
Our 12 points go to Vigor.
Yes, indeed. I think Vigor is very much deserving again of the 12 points for Guild Siege defense because Vigor can be used for Nat 4 towers. Vigor can be used with Savannah and Ethna for Nat 5 towers. And it's one of the most effective ones. So we can see now Vigor solidifying his lead for PvP contents with just 2 more remaining. And the next set of scores would be interesting because we will have the Special League next. And for the Special League, we welcome the darling of Summoner's War. We have Rika.
not alone. I tried to fight it, but it's getting strong, getting strong, getting strong.
Rika, please give us your points.
Hi, Rika here calling from the Sky Arena. And these are the first points.
Okay, no surprises here for the special league. We can see, I think 1 point for Ramhan because of the speed lead. Elusha used to be very good for special league, but with the introduction of Lulu and then you have Fran, no, you have more options for immunity. And then we can see Vigor, Raok, Bernard, Kali. I think those are very standard usable monsters for special league, both for Nat 4 and 20-star real-time arena. Mina and Miho definitely very strong. And Rika, please give us your 12 points.
Our 12 points will go to Ashir.
Ashir, interesting. I think Ashir got the 12 points here because for Nat 4 and 20-star real-time arena, it's about cleaving, turn 1 kill. Ashir definitely has the best utility for special league. You can pair it with Lucian, you can pair it with Tableau. In 20-star with Odin and the Beast Riders. I think that's the reason why Ashir is very high here. And which brings us to the last content, no? So how will the rankings change after we see the points from the regular world arena? And we welcome Gianna for the world arena.
1, 2, girls, come on.
So please give us your first points, Gianna, for RTA.
Hi, Gianna here calling for the real-time arena. And here are the first points.
So once again, I think these are very much expected scores for real-time arena. So you can see there is Celia with a very niche use for RTA if you don't have strippers. You have Elusha, which used to be one of the best monsters, but right now with so many immunity units, she can only be picked in certain situations, but still very good if you draft very well. You have Bernard, Raok for some crazy teams, Ashir if you want turn 1 teams, Vigor slightly better in the past meta, but right now with the rise of the Art Masters, I think it's not very great anymore, but still useful. I think Kali, while she's relatively new, she will gain more popularity in the next seasons. But right now, I can already see some gameplays with Kali being a turn 1 unit, killing wind units without attack buff. Kali can also be used as a counter pick for surprise teams like those with Fengyan as well as Leo. And then Miho and Mina still very good for this meta because of their high base speed. And Miho definitely, if you get a very good timing of picking her, she can be a force ban unit or a unit which is difficult to kill for your enemy. And then Mina, I think Mina is pretty much underrated, but I saw some gameplays with the Vietnamese using Vampire Mina, which is totally unkillable. Mina is also very easy to rune because her passive makes her crit 100% if you're attacking units without harmful effects. So she can definitely be a killing machine for RTA. But let's hear from Gianna, who got the 12 points for RTA.
And our 12 points go to Lulu.
Ah, and of course, Lulu gets the 12. Lulu is the meta for this season. So definitely he can be used in any compositions. He's even better than most Nat 5s for granting immunity. Right now, if you need immunity for RTA, no questions, you will definitely use Lulu. So there we go, that's the last points for the PvP contents, and these are your top 5 for PvP. You have Vigor with 60 points, Bernard with 50 points, Eshir and Miho tied at 3rd and 4th place with 48 points, and then Kali with 45 points. Now let's recap the PVE scores. So in the PVE scores, you have Rauk, Crow, Beldion, Tattoo, Sath, and then Ikaru. Now the moment of truth, we will be combining both the points for PVE and PvP. You can see here the pink scores are the PvP scores and the white scores are the PVE scores. If we add them up, we can see that Rauk wins the best 2A monster for 2021. I think this is a very well deserved ranking for Rauk, considering that he can be used in almost any content. Similarly, I think we can say the same for Beladion, although Beladion falls off for the late game. Vigor, Bernard, and Kali has a more concentration on PvP, while Crow, Ikaru, Tattoo, and Sath are very much for PvE. Eshir and Miho are tied at 10th place because of their niche uses, most likely for PvP. Spectra is also in the 10th place with his niche use for PvE. Then we do have some honorable mentions, like Lulu definitely has very good niche uses. Shaman, Jultan, and Mina as well have niche uses. And I think the rest have very specific uses, no? But more likely effective in their own right. So this is it for the ranking of the 2A monsters for 2021 in Summoner's War for both PvE and PvP contents. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Comment what do you think about this ranking. Do you have any questions? Do you have any contentions? Please comment down below. I try to respond to almost all of your comments. Especially we're just growing a community here. Please, if you enjoy the channel content, subscribe. It would help me a lot for the YouTube algorithm. And we're still so far away from the 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you have friends also play Summoner's War and you think they will enjoy the videos, encourage them to like and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye!
We're calling it a house fire.